Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and watching. My name is Nefertiti, and you can find me on the web at onebodywm.com. So I received a channeled message about intrusive thoughts, and this is actually a download that I got maybe yesterday, but it just took me a little while to unpack it because I had to kind of go through my own little process of understanding exactly what intrusive thoughts are. So, in a nutshell, intrusive thoughts are a method of psychic attack used by the Dark Ones, the Illuminati, the Cabal, whatever you want to call that energy. But it's used as a method to disempower and distract light workers. Now, intrusive thoughts are those thoughts that are nagging, negative, ungrounded, and unfounded. Just those random thoughts that pop into your head that are way out of character for you. It's different for everybody, right? But what it does is it keeps you in a low enough vibration so that these negative entities can attach to you. And these attachments can be felt on many levels. For a lot of us light workers, we feel this physically. It all depends on where you are most psychically aware. So if you're clairvoyant, you'll see these entities. If you're claircognizant, you'll feel them. Clairsentient, you'll feel them more physically. What's the other one? Clairaudient, you could hear these entities. And this is a lot of what these entities communicate to us is through clairaudience. But again, it just depends on which one of your psychic abilities is the strongest, because that's where you're going to be able to identify this energy. And the whole objective, we have to remember this. If you don't remember anything else, remember this. The whole objective of the Dark Ones, the Illuminati, is to get you to stop you, because they cannot stop you. All they can do is distort what it is that you believe. Just try to distort your truth, but they can't stop you. So their only objective is to get you to stop you. And how they do that 90% of the time is through mental manipulation or intrusive thoughts. And how do intrusive thoughts show up? So as I mentioned earlier, they can be those nagging negative thoughts, but intrusive thoughts can also get into your mental field through negative synchronicities. Now, these do exist. This is something that I recently got confirmation on. I've kind of known that negative synchronicities exist. You can get negative number synchronicities. You can get however you receive information, it can be manipulated and distorted depending on your vibrational level at that time and what you've allowed into your field. So I'll give you another example from David Icke. This is how it kind of works. You have a piece of paper and you draw a line on a piece of paper. Now, dark energy, the Dark Ones, they can't draw the line like you can, because we are the creators. We're the only ones that can create, right? We're co-creators with Source. They don't have that ability. What they can do is, once you draw the line on that paper, they can come in and distort that line. They can move that line around. They can collapse that line, right? But again, you have to allow that. They can only work with what's already there. And so, yes, this energy does exist at higher dimensions. However, it's easily detected if we're strong enough when we use our discernment to identify whether or not this energy that we are confronted with or dealing with at present is in fact positive and nourishing for us. So some of the ways that negative synchronicities are able to be identified versus the positive ones. If you get a synchronicity and it immediately gives you fear, and I'm not talking about making you uncomfortable a little bit, like, okay, the universe is asking me to do something and I don't want to do it. No, I'm talking about it gives you fear to the point where it stifles you. It cripples you for a minute. I don't feel like that's positive synchronicity. And you can use the violet flame energy, or you could just ask, is this for my highest good? Is this coming from my higher source? The second way that this negative synchronicity or intrusive thoughts can get in is they don't provide a direct answer to your question, right? It kind of sends you on a little mental runaround where you're still asking questions like, well, what does that mean? Or what does that mean? You know, so you've told me this, so what does that mean? What does that imply? So you're not really feeling like you've gotten the answer. And we've been told by our angels and guides over and over again, ask and we shall receive. They don't have to give us a roundabout way of getting to our answers, right? They work a lot faster than we do. We're the ones that are bound by time and space. So when we ask a question to our angels and guides, we get a direct answer. If it's our angels and guides, our God, Goddess, source that are providing the answers to us, not the distortion, right? And the third way to tell if you're dealing with a negative synchronicity is that you won't feel supported. Even if that synchronicity implies that you'll have to go through something challenging, you will still feel supported. But if you get that synchronicity and you don't feel supported, you feel a disconnect, then it's probably coming from a source of manipulation. So that's why I feel like it's so important for you to write down your synchronicities, especially right now that we're going through all of these shifts and changes. Keep a notebook with you, keep a notepad open in your phone and write them down, because positive synchronicities have three qualities as well. And the first one is, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, they are going to be immediate. When you ask a question and you ask for a sign, a synchronicity, you're going to get that immediately, whether it's in your thoughts. Again, that depends on how you are able to interpret energy, what your strongest psychic ability is. It could be through your thoughts. It could be in your physical environment. Your eyes fall on something. It could be through a clairaudient message that you immediately get, a song, a phrase, something like that. But there's going to be something that comes in that immediately gives you peace. It immediately gives you peace. It puts you in a much better state than you were in a few seconds before. You might not be completely, feeling like, oh, okay, whew, but you feel like you're one step closer to that. The second quality of a positive synchronicity is that you're going to get more of them and they're going to have a similar theme. This could also be true with the negative synchronicities, and that's why you have to recognize it from the get-go so that you can put a stop to that and only allow in those positive synchronicities. You'll get more of them and they will have a similar theme. So that's why it's important for you to write them down. Don't rely on your memory. Okay, not at this time. Do not rely on your memory for these synchronicities, because there's distortions there. There's implants there. There are negative programs there. So that's why you have to write them down, record them somehow, and check that similar theme. That's how you'll know it's positive, it's nourishing, it's leading you in the right direction. The third way to recognize a positive synchronicity is they are direct and easy to understand in that moment. In that moment. Now, whether or not the resistance shows up in you, that's irrelevant. But when you get that answer, it's going to be easily understood on some level. Now, it might not imply any physical action that you need to take, but you're going to understand on some level what it is that you need to do. So I hope this was helpful for you. I'm going to offer you some crystal therapy, of course. I believe that amethyst is the premier stone for this form of psychic attack because it provides that mental protection, that spiritual protection, protecting you in those higher chakras where these intrusive thought forms come in, where they come in at their source. Now, I mentioned in another video that if you have an open wound, like, for example, abandonment issues or neglect, or you were abused in your childhood, or you grew up in a dysfunctional home, etc., all of those things, which most of us have experienced as light workers, then you do have some wounding, you have some core wounds. And that is another easy way for these intrusive thoughts to get in, because if they don't have any foundation in and of themselves, they have to attach to something that's already there, that's already rooted. So that's why it's so important to do shadow work. That's why it's so important for you to travel into these inner realms. We all want to travel around the world. I want to see countries. I want to see the world. But more importantly, you need to make sure that you are traveling to these inner realms, this inner world, because that's the most important thing. So thank you so much for watching and listening. If you like this content, please like the video, comment, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to speaking to you again really soon. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.